Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about your presentation. We're going to talk about how to present to the customer. So let's just back up a little bit here. I'm assuming that you've already met the merchant for the first time. You've completed that stage of the sales process. You've obtained a processing statement, and now you have completed an analysis. Now, you might have completed it on site, or most likely you've sent the statement to the statement analysis department. They have completed an analysis for you, and then you have taken that analysis and you're bringing it back to the merchant to present it to them. So I'm going to walk you through that, give you a couple quick tips. First of all, when you walk into the business, walk in casually. Now let me explain what I mean by that. A couple things. First of all, when you walk into the business, make sure that you smile. Don't walk in looking like this, very serious. Walk in like this with a nice big smile. Whoever you see, you say hi to them. If you walk in and see a customer, you say, "Hey, how you doing today?" Very jolly, in a good mood, a little bit over the top even. You want to be in a great mood, smiling and happy as you walk into the business. It really puts people at ease. What you'll find is when you walk in looking very purposeful, it sets people off, and they have a little bit of they're a little nervous. Who is this guy? What does he want? You don't want to do that. Secondly, when you walk in, don't be carrying papers with you. You want to either use a regular manila folder and have the customer's name written on that tab, or bring yourself one of these right here. This is just a regular portfolio book that I use. This is what I carry with me when I go places, and so that I can always open it up and be looking at my schedule or looking at any of the different things that I need to do. Okay, so you want to have something like this with you, and that's going to have all of your paperwork and everything like that. Then also, when you walk up to the counter, what you want to do is you want to walk up and you want to kind of lean on the counter a little bit. And I know that's a pretty specific recommendation, but I'm telling you, it really does work. People, when you walk in, if you're really nervous, people think this guy doesn't really belong here. He's probably trying to sell something. When I walk into a business, especially to give the presentation, not only do I smile, not only do I look very professional, and I'm bringing my, my portfolio book with me, but I usually walk up and kind of lean on the counter. I'll take my book and set my book down and lean up on the counter, okay, something like that. And then I'm going to ask for the business owner by first name. So again, I'm going to be very casual. I'm very relaxed. I've already met with the business owner. I'm coming back in. I want to seem like I belong in this business. Okay, I belong here. I'm an equal with the business owner. I just walk in. I feel very comfortable. I walk up and put my arm up on the counter, set my notebook down, and then I'll just say to the person there, I'll say, "Hi, is Bob in today?" Something like that. Very relaxed. "Hi, is Bob in today?" And then they say, "Yeah." He says, "Okay, great. Can you let him know that James is here?" And then I look down and look at my book. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in the presentation that I do all the time is if I get to a point where I've asked somebody something where I'm assuming that they're going to answer yes, or I'm assuming that they're going to do what I said they should do, let me give you a little tip. I look down at my portfolio notebook. If you ask somebody and say, "Could you get Bob for me?" and you're staring at them, they might say, "No, he's not here," or "No, I can't get him for you, he's busy." But if I said, "Hey, how you doing today?" "Good." "Hey, is Bob in today? Just can you let him know that James is here? Thank you very much." And I look down like this. Okay, when you do that, it makes it difficult for somebody to say no, all right? I do the same thing when I have them sign the agreement. When I have them sign the agreement, I say, "Okay, Bob, what I need you to do is I need you to sign right here, and then go ahead and date this for me." And then I look over at my book like this. And that way I'm not staring at him while he signs his name or enters his social security number, whatever it is, whatever the information is that I need from him. I'm going to assume that he's going to do what I'm saying he's going to do, and I'm just going to look away at my portfolio notebook, okay? So this is a really good sales tool to have, is have a portfolio notebook. Have a blank page there so you can take notes when the merchant says, "Hey, one thing, I'd like for you to do this or I'd like for you to do that." Go ahead and make a note of that there with your portfolio notebook. Now, one other thing, when you first walk in, make sure that you wait for the owner to respond to your greeting before you get into your sales pitch. A big mistake that a lot of agents will make is they walk into the place of business, the business owner is about 20 feet away, and they say, hey Bob, I got the analysis done, it looks like we're going to save you some money, I'd really like to, and Bob's thinking, what do they want? And you're too eager. Don't be eager, all right? Wait for the person to come to you. A lot of times, I'll even just stand there and wait for him to come up, because a lot of times what you'll find out is he needs to take care of something quickly before meeting with you. So a lot of times he'll walk up to the counter and, Susie is there, and you said, hey Susie, is Bob here? And she says, yeah, and then, yeah, tell him James is here. She goes and gets Bob, she comes back to the front counter, Bob comes walking up, Bob might need to tell Susie something before he talks to you. So wait a second, see what happens, all right? Just have a nice smile on your face. Hey Bob, how you doing this morning? And then that's it, that's all you need to say. Usually you can tell by his response if he's ready to speak with you, because he might just say, oh, hi James, hey, give me 1 second. But if you just jump right into your pitch, he feels like you're attacking him, and he might need to take care of some business before you get into your big presentation. Now, once he has replied and said, doing good, how are you doing today? Whatever his response is, then the line that I use next is I'll usually say, hey Bob, do you have a few minutes to go over the analysis? I went ahead and got that done for you, but didn't know if you might have a couple minutes to go over that with me. And that's what I ask him, if he has a couple minutes. And if he says no, then that's fine. Reschedule. Get a different time when you're going to go do that. That's fine. So that's the next thing that you want to do is you want to walk in, you want to be relaxed, you want to have your portfolio notebook, and you can open that up and look down at it. Next thing that you want to do is you want to determine what type of person it is that you're dealing with as far as the business owner. Now this is very important, because before you move to the next step in your presentation, it's going to be very important for you to understand who are you dealing with here. Now let me give you the 2 main types of business owners that you deal with. Number 1, you're going to deal with business owners who are detail-oriented. They come across as very smart, very intelligent people, and a lot of times you might even, you're in the back of your mind, your thought process is, I'm almost, wow, like this person is so smart, I'm kind of surprised they're running just a little small business here. Like I would think they'd be have a big corporate job somewhere. They come across as very sharp, very articulate. When you run across that type of business owner, they're going to want to know a little bit more. They're probably going to want to know everything about the pricing, and they want to make sure that everything is exactly right and make sure that everything matches up perfectly. So that's going to really change the way you go through the next part of the presentation. Whereas the other type of person is the kind of person that wants an overall view, and those people usually come across like he's the owner. They don't come across like that sharp. Now again, they are really smart, but what they've learned to do is they have certain strengths, and they're very focused on those few strengths, and they really just maximize those, and that's how they run their business. And so they don't run their business based on all the details of everything. They run their business on personal relationships. So their main thing is they want to trust you. So the main focus of your presentation to that type of a business owner is, do they trust me? Your goal is to get them to trust you. You want to show them overall numbers, but you want to make sure that you get them to trust you, because if they trust you, they will buy from you. Now, they're not going to understand all the numbers. They're not going to understand all the particulars of exactly how you're going to save them money and how interchange pricing works and how all that. They're not going to understand all that, but they will buy from you if they trust you. And we're going to talk about a couple little things that you can do to get them to trust you. Now, let me look down at my notes to give you the last one. The last thing that we're going to talk about is on the analysis. I'm going to give you a couple tips on the analysis. When you're doing the statement analysis, you're going over that statement analysis form, you want to do a few things. First of all, you want to make sure that you have a balance between presenting the bad and the good. Too many sales agents present only the good on the analysis, and that leaves the customer wondering, where's the bad? They know that you're not beating their competitor on every single item. They know that you're not just perfect. There's got to be something. There's got to be a catch. And they're going to be looking for that. They're going to be looking for that. So rather than making them wonder, and then they'll say at the end, well, let me look over this and I'll call you back. A lot of times they do that because you didn't tell them anything bad. tell them something bad. I'll tell you what I do a lot of times is I'll point out an area where, I might not be saving them money. A lot of times our batch fee, I charge a 35-cent batch or settlement fee. A lot of times that's higher than what their competitor charges. The competitor might only charge 20 cents or 10 cents. And a lot of times I'll point that out. I'll say, hey Bob, now as I'm going down through the fees, I'll say, now a couple things here. First of all, the batch settlement fee, now that one, I'm a little higher there. I just want to make sure you know that ahead of time so you're not surprised when you see the statement. Our fee is 35 cents. You're currently paying 20 cents. So we're about 15 cents higher on that. Now your batch settlement fee, that's the fee that you pay each day when you settle your terminal out. But I got the good news too. Down here in this other fee, I'm going to save you whatever. Okay, so I'm going to point out something on there where I maybe am not saving them as much money. And so what that does is that really takes them back a little bit. They go, wow, he told me something bad. It makes them feel like I can trust this person because they are going to show me the good and the bad. Now, of course, the good should overwhelm the bad, and all the good things that we have to offer should be obviously much better than a few bad things that are there. But you want to make sure you have a balance between the good and the bad. Don't make it all good. Go down through the analysis. Now again, keep in mind who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a detail-oriented, very intelligent, smart business owner, go through every single fee. That's what I do. I go through every single fee and show them exactly what they're going to pay, and they like that. However, if I'm dealing with more of the guy that maybe is even a little bit intimidating because they're a very powerful person, but they don't come across as the sharpest person, they're just, man, they run their business. You can tell when you walk in, like, the really smart, intelligent business owner, normally, people are not jumping and every time they move, they go, oh, look, it's Bob. Oh, it's Bob. They don't do that. The intelligent person, people just look at them and they respect them. But it's not like that person's running their business with an iron fist. The people that are running their business with an iron fist a lot of times are using that iron fist as compensation for the fact that they're not quite as sharp. They're not quite as smart on all the business things, so they have to really run things themselves because they haven't quite delegated everything out yet, okay? So that type of business person, I'm not going to tell him every single thing. I'm going to show him the significant items. So usually on the statement analysis, there's 2 or 3 things that are great where you're going to save them maybe 20 bucks a month just on that one line item. Definitely mention that one, okay? You might have something else where you're, $5 or $6 more expensive than their competitor. So you want to point out the biggies. You want to talk about what are the big things on the analysis, and then give them the bottom line. What they want to know is the bottom line, and I always use that word too with those type of people. I always say, Bob, the bottom line is I'm going to save you X amount. Okay. Now, when you do get to the bottom line, here's a couple other tips that you need to know about that. Make sure, never say the monthly savings. Never use that word. That's not a good word to use. Bob, your monthly savings is going to be X. Don't ever say that. If they say the monthly savings, don't repeat it. You want to talk about the yearly savings. Now, why is that? Well, let me ask you, would you rather save $10 or would you rather save $120? Would you rather save $100 or $1,200? Okay, it just sounds better. You want to emphasize the yearly savings. That's the first thing you want to emphasize. So when you get down to the bottom, you say, Bob, the bottom line is, when you add all that together, the good, the bad, the ugly, you put it all in there together, we're going to save you about $1,000 a year, or we're going to save you about $450 a year, whatever it is. You point to that number on the analysis form, and you tell them how much money we're going to save them. Then, after you've done that, the second number that I use, and I'm going to explain this one a little bit, is what I call the markup percentage savings. Let me say that again, the markup percentage savings. Now, as you might already know, much of credit card processing is cost. There's interchange fees associated with each card type that people run. So the cost is going to be the same. The only variable is the markup. How much are we marking up their rates versus the competition, right? That's all we can control. So when I do a percentage savings, if somebody was paying $1,000 a month and I'm saving them $100 a month, I don't say I'm saving you 10%, because 10% is a pretty small number. I'd rather use a larger number than 10%. So let me tell you the number that I use. I take, when you get your statement analysis, the far right 2 columns have the profit and they have the savings. Now think with me a second. You're going to have to get your math brain plugged in for a second here, okay? If you add up the monthly savings with the monthly profit, if you add those two numbers together, okay? If we're saving them $100 a month and there's a total of $100 a month in profit left, then if you add those two numbers together, $200, that's how much the previous processor, the company they're with now, that's how much they are marking them up each month. So for that example, okay, let's say that this merchant is paying $1,000 a month is what they paid last month with their current processor. Then let's say that we're going to save them $100 a month, and that's going to leave $100 a month in profit for us to split up. What I would say is not, Bob, I'm going to save you 10%. This is what I would say. I would say, Bob, as I'm sure you're already aware, most of the processing costs that you have on your statement are actual pass-through interchange fees that are from Visa and MasterCard. So I can't do anything about that. That just, it is what it is. It comes from Visa and MasterCard. I wish I could, save you some money on that, but I can't. Doesn't matter if you go with me or any of my competitors, we're all going to charge you those same interchange costs, which on your statement was around $800, which again, I just take whatever the profit plus the savings, I take that number, I subtract it from the total that they paid, and that's about what the cost is. That's just the cost. Can't do anything about that. I say, Bob, now as far as your processing fees, in other words, what the processor is charging you to process all those transactions, that's where I come in and I can do something with that. Now, you've been paying about $200 a month. Of the $1,000 you've been paying, about $200 a month of that is money you're paying to the processor in order to just process the transactions. Now, I was able to cut that number in half, Bob. That's right, 50%. I got you a 50% discount, and we're going to save you about $1,200 a year because I'm cutting your markup in half. That sounds really good, doesn't it? Now, the reason that sounds so good is because I'm not using the total processing fees minus the savings. I'm not using that for my percentage. I'm taking the markup, and how much did we cut their markup? Normally, we're cutting their markup in half. So that sounds really, really good, okay? So I hope those tips will help you out. When you're making a presentation, you want to go through and do all that. Once you get down to the last part of that, then you're all set. You can move right into the paperwork, and we'll get into that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day today.